On February 28, 2026, Israel and the United States launched coordinated joint airstrikes against Iran. Israel codenamed the operation Roaring Lion, while the U.S. called it Operation Epic Fury. It was the largest joint military operation between the two nations in modern history. The strikes targeted major Iranian cities including Tehran, Isfahan, Qom, Karaj, and Kermanshah. Key targets included military installations, air defense systems, ballistic missile infrastructure, and command and control centers. In the most significant strike, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed when his leadership house compound was completely destroyed. In the opening attack, his wife was also confirmed dead on March 2 from injuries sustained in the strike. Several other senior officials were also killed, including Ali Shamkhani, the former head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. By March 1, approximately 2,000 strikes had been carried out by Israel in the U.S. Military operations focused on three key priorities: suppressing Iranian air defenses, degrading Iran's capacity to retaliate, and disrupting Iranian command and control systems. The International Atomic Energy Agency reported on March 2 that there was no indication any of Iran's nuclear installations had been hit or damaged in the strikes. However, Iran claimed that at least one nuclear site had been struck. Iran retaliated with Operation True Promise IV, launching waves of ballistic missiles and drones at Israel and Gulf states. This was the latest in a series of military operations under the True Promise name. The U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia was hit by drones. International flights were cancelled or rerouted, including Kuwait Airways flights at JFK Airport in New York. Britain's RAF base in Cyprus was also struck by an Iranian drone. But why did the US and Israel attack Iran? To understand, we need to look back at a chain of events stretching over several years. Tensions had been escalating sharply since the October 7, 2023 Hamas attack on Israel and the Gaza war that followed. Israel had been systematically weakening Iran's proxy forces across the Middle East, including Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel and Iran directly exchanged strikes in April and October 2024. In 2025, the two sides fought a brief war that included a U.S. airstrike aimed at destroying Iran's nuclear facilities. In late 2025, the largest anti-government protests since the 1979 revolution erupted across Iran. Protests spread to over 100 cities, fueled by a severe economic crisis and the collapse of the Iranian rial. Citizens took to the streets demanding regime change. The Iranian government responded with violent repression, including massacres of protesters, with the deadliest incidents occurring on January 8 and 10, 2026. President Trump threatened military intervention if Iran continued to kill peaceful protesters. On January 23, Trump announced a U.S. armada was heading to the Middle East, including the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln and several guided missile destroyers. On February 13, he ordered the aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford and its supporting warships to sail to the region as well. Indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran over Iran's nuclear program in February 2026 collapsed. The two sides were deeply divided, with the U.S. demanding Iran end all nuclear enrichment activity and address its ballistic missile program. The failure of diplomacy paved the way for military action. At exactly 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 28, President Trump released an 8-minute video on Truth Social. He declared that the purpose of the strikes was effectively regime change in Iran. Trump cited Iran's hostage crisis history, its support for Hamas and Hezbollah, the killing of protesters, and its alleged pursuit of nuclear weapons as justification for the attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the Iranian people directly in Farsi on live television. He urged them to come out in their millions and overthrow the regime. Netanyahu declared that the help they had wished for has now arrived. Israel viewed this operation as the culmination of a long-standing policy to drive regime change from within Iran. However, many experts and analysts warned that the goal of regime change was naive and dangerous. They drew direct comparisons to the 2003 Iraq War, when the U.S. also cited weapons of mass destruction to justify invasion but found none. U.S. intelligence reports also suggested that the threat of long-range Iranian ballistic missiles had been exaggerated. Iranian society is deeply diverse and complex. Protesters belong to many different factions, ranging from those seeking to restore the monarchy to those calling for full democracy. But at the same time, many Iranians rallied behind their government after their country was attacked by foreign powers. This divide makes the prospect of regime change extremely uncertain. A major question remains: will the U.S. stay committed long-term, or will it pull out and leave Israel holding the bag? Some U.S. Congress members, including Thomas Massie, argued that Trump started the war to distract from domestic issues. America's Gulf allies also face uncertainty over how long they can withstand Iranian retaliatory strikes on their territory, a war they had repeatedly cautioned against. This war is not just a Middle Eastern affair. It affects the entire world. Global oil prices surged the moment the conflict began, driving up fuel costs and shipping expenses worldwide. Shipping lanes through the Strait of Hormuz, where roughly 20% of the world's oil passes through, face serious disruption. Global stock markets plunged and gold prices skyrocketed. For economies around the world that depend on energy imports and global trade, this conflict could drive inflation higher and impact the daily lives of ordinary people. International flights continue to be canceled or rerouted, disrupting tourism and commerce. The situation is evolving rapidly and remains highly unpredictable. Stay tuned for the latest updates on the 2026 Israel-Iran conflict.